Welcome to our third edition of Meet the Solutions Architects. My name is Stephanie Baskerville. I am the content writer and marketing assistant here at ProServeIT. And I'm here today with Keith Vivekananda, who is one of our amazing solutions architects. And Keith, we're just going to dive right into this, and we're going to chat all about you today. So Keith, how many years have you been in the industry?
So I've been in the industry for a very long time. If we're talking computers, if we're talking anything to do with IT, but getting into what I do right now, within Office 365, SharePoint, and all those kind of things, I would probably say maybe it's been 7 to 8 years.
Okay.
In the industry.
7 to 8 years. Yeah, I know that when we talked a little bit earlier, you said something around like 2004 was kind of your initial introduction.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
I did go to school for this, and then I just had initial start in like support, computer support.
Okay.
But then it kind of transformed to where I'm at. Right
Nice. And what would you say you like most about working in IT?
So a lot of companies come to us with problems, and I get to create a solution for them. So that's very rewarding for me, and I enjoy that. That's the big thing. Being able to create these solutions and seeing those solutions come into becoming real.
Come to fruition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you are a very creative person, I understand.
Yes, it's very interesting that you say that. So when you first see an IT guy, you usually think IT girl or guy. You usually think, okay, they're very logical, but at the same time, I am creative. I've done a lot of creative things in the past. Like right now, I'm getting into drawing and art, painting with acrylics and getting into that. But I even find, even when we're creating our solutions for our, for organizations that we work with, we have to be creative, right? So, there might be workarounds that we have to figure out. There might be certain solutions that don't work for this organization, but will work for another. So you have to be creative.
And your kind of thing is that creative on the side is sort of one of your taglines almost,
right? So I'm creative everywhere. That's kind of
excellent.
That's my thing, yeah.
And how do you think that's like when you deal with one of our customers on a day-to-day basis? How do you think that kind of plays in? You've kind of touched on it, but let's explore that a bit more.
So basically, like I was saying, many organizations kind of work in different ways. One solution doesn't fit all of these, right? So you have to be creative. You have to be thinking on the fly. Logic can only take you so far, but then when you bring people into the mix, users, they shouldn't be called users anymore. They're actual people, and that's where a creative solution comes into play, right? Because there's so many moving items. You have emotions that come into this too as well, and my creativeness kind of helps come up with a solution that works.
And now that kind of ties in with what you do here at ProServeIT, because you are kind of responsible for Office 365, digital transformations, things like that.
Yeah.
Is that sort of would you say that creativity is really helping you with that?
That's huge, because what I mainly focus on is a lot to do with collaboration and that human aspect to it. And it's almost like there is a certain art to it, like coming up with this kind of solution that works for these organizations.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about digital transformation, sort of what platforms. Office 365 is obviously quite big. So what would you say your areas of specialty are?
So anything to do with collaboration and people and coming up with some of the cool stuff within Office 365. So a lot of people are familiar with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, the usual regular stuff. But then there's the other side of Office 365, the more dynamic things like SharePoint. That's how everyone works together, the Microsoft Teams part of it. But there's also the Power family of apps, which is like Power Apps, Power BI. You have a lot of data within Office 365, but what do you do with it? So that's where Power Apps and Power BI come into play. And that's where I can come up with these creative solutions around these applications.
So helping people understand how Power Apps, Power BI,
and
I think Flow as well can sort of tie in together and help them create the solution they need.
And take them to the next level by being creative, right?
Awesome. So that's neat. Let's talk a little bit more about sort of you specifically. Now, I understand you have a relationship podcast.
Yes, I do. It's interesting. Yeah. So it's not just me. It's like two other friends of mine too as well. So there's 3 of us, and I noticed while kind of growing up, like now I'm in a relationship, like a 5-year relationship. But before that, I was dating around, and I know a lot of people my age are dating around, and there hasn't been any material for them, and the dating world is kind of changing. So that's why I kind of got into that. Once again, that's my creative side too, as well.
For sure.
And I like helping people, right? So maybe that's why I kind of have this relationship podcast, is because I like helping people, coming up with solutions for them. I have a lot of experience, right, when it comes to dating, or even going back to like what we do here. I have a lot of experience with collaboration, working with people.
Yeah.
And I take that and then help people with that.
That's awesome. Now I also understand that you've dabbled in audio as well, because you were a mixer.
Yeah,
is that the right term?
I like the creative side, but what kind of melds it together, I like the the technical side too as well. So growing up, I had a lot of people around me who were making music, etc. So I would take that more from the technical side and mix these kind of things and kind of get them to the final stage. So I did that with video, I did that with audio, I dabbled in graphic design for a bit too as well.
Okay.
And that's where I think I have a lot of experiences with that, a lot of technical experiences, and just coming up with the solution.
Yeah, for sure. And I understand that you are a huge Toronto or Raptors fan.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, what do you think the best thing about Toronto is?
Toronto in general?
Yes.
I would probably say 2 things. First of all, the diversity, the different types of people that are here, and that kind of leads into the food too as well, right?
Awesome.
So I've traveled the world, and the food that I've seen out in the world, you can find that all here in Toronto.
Okay.
Right? Just because of how diverse and where everyone's from, it's kind of melding in one area, so you can get these different varieties of food, and they're, depending on which area you go, you always get the authentic feel. Right, so what you might have tasted somewhere out in the world, you can find that here in Toronto too. So I absolutely love Toronto because of that.
Nice, that's awesome. And you're a Raptors fan, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's another part that's amazing about Toronto too as well, right?
Absolutely.
We're doing so well, and yeah, you can see that in our in our sports fans. We're very hardcore. We're very into it, and that plays into how people in Toronto are so great.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time,
No
Keith.
problem.
And folks, if you want to learn a bit more about Keith, read the rest of this blog that we're writing about. Keith's also going to be doing actually a Power Apps webinar coming up in March sometime, and we'll have some co-authored blogs with Keith on that too. So stay tuned for that. And we'll also be doing another version of Meet the Essays next month as well, so stay tuned for that too. But until then, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.